Angry Birds is a franchise now, and we have plenty of slingshot games. But other than Bad Piggies, they hadn't tried anything new for the series just yet. What video game genre would the Angry Birds fit best into? A platformer? Nah, birds don't have legs. Maybe a match 3 game? No way, like Angry Birds would ever do something as lazy as that. It should be obvious, people. The Angry Birds need to buckle their seatbelts, start their engines, and create a racing game. Oh yeah, and let's make the jump from 2D to 3D for the very first time. This is the story of Angry Birds Go. Hello everybody, and welcome to the next installment of ranking every Angry Birds game. If you missed it, a new game released very recently, Angry Birds Bounce, so make sure to watch that video first before this one. Now let's get into the history of Angry Birds Go, where the idea came from, and each content update it eventually received, including the dreaded 2.0. Everyone who can call themselves a fan of this game hate version 2.0, and we're going to get into why. But first, how did Angry Birds Go come to be? The simple answer is, Rovio was ready to expand the series, and a kart racer was just the first of many examples of that. But it's certainly an ambitious one to start with, and this was their first 3D game for the franchise. Rovio wasn't going to be able to tackle this idea alone. Rovio teamed up with the developer Exient to make the game, who were apparently going to teach Rovio the basics on the free-to-play market. So you're the ones to blame for Rovio being this way. Screw you, Exient. I hope I'm pronouncing it wrong. In creating the game, it was important for them to translate a lot of elements from the slingshot games in here. You start the race by launching forward, you can crash into towers and even break your own vehicles, and you play with the cast of birds with their iconic powers and some pigs for the very first time. A lot of Bad Piggies even shines through here, with each vehicle clearly being handcrafted and your kart being able to fall apart and crash. So far, that seems to be the biggest and most unique idea they had for their kart racer. Otherwise, this sort of just sounds like any generic other racing game already on the App Store. There is a treasure trove of concept art for Angry Birds Go, almost exclusively featuring cooler ideas and tracks than the one seen in the final game. A lot of them are packed with references to past games, or even just fully take place within them. Apparently Angry Birds Rio could have had its own race. Wouldn't that have been amazing? Utopia from Angry Birds Space could have been their Rainbow Road. These concepts are so good compared to the look of the final game. I have to imagine they were just way out of budget or way too ambitious for what they were capable of making. The first teaser we saw for Angry Birds Go simply says something new is coming and features Red dashing forward with zero context. There was no reason to believe karts would even be a part of this game featured here. A couple months later, they released a video titled What is Angry Birds Go? They claimed to have tried making an endless runner, but it didn't seem like a good fit. Who knows if that was just a joke or a real concept. Then there's a weird sponsored Red Bull moment where they drive around in a soapbox derby. It still ends cryptically without any real confirmation of what the hell the game even is. Finally, in October of that year, we got a gameplay trailer, and on its launch day in December, they released the legendary cinematic trailer. I always love this one, it's so fun and so well animated. We see the pigs and birds fight, Chuck builds a super cool car only to have it completely destroyed by the end, and it hypes you up like no other to play this brand new game. So, the gameplay of Angry Birds Go, and a broad description, is very simple. You complete races trying to get first place in each one, and complete the campaign to unlock new racers. Obviously, the game is much more complex than that, and as we play, I'll introduce you to each new idea in each course or character we unlock as we go, but the most important thing to discuss first is the free-to-play model we touched on earlier. Up until now, in-app purchases were barely a big deal in any Angry Birds game. You could play them fully with a single purchase or even in the free versions. And like I said before, Exient was going to get them into this new free-to-play model, complete with energy systems, upgrading your vehicles, and tons of grinding. This is the first Angry Birds game I'm going to have to find an unlimited money mod for so I can actually enjoy my time playing the game. They claim they did this to get the game in front of as many people as possible, but you're not fooling me, Rovio. They got a ton of backlash about the in-app purchases featured in this game, and it's sad that what this game featured doesn't even hold a candle to the kind of stuff mobile games pull nowadays. Starting the game from scratch, we get a cute little intro comic, which for some reason are all incredibly low quality in the game, and then we're dropped into it. I don't remember it taking place in a dark, evil hellscape, but the Shadow Realm does make for a pretty awesome opening to this game. Just kidding, obviously I had some errors playing on BlueStacks. Word of advice, switch your graphics settings to DirectX if you face the same issue. This is what the game is supposed to look like, complete with polygonal environments with pixelated clouds. So classic, so perfect. These first levels don't even have racers, it's just for some practice before our first official race. Originally the game had a gas, brake, drift, and boost button, and potentially even more than that. But to keep the game as simple and accessible as possible, now all you could control is moving left and right. The cart drove on its own and you could use your power with the tap of a button. Obviously, it feels the closest to a soapbox derby with this control scheme, and adding all that other stuff makes it just another generic kart racing game, so I'm all for it. Red dreams of winning the big cake at the end, bumping into Mechanic Pig and ruining his kart. In this comic, almost looks like Mechanic Pig has trained up and kidnapped Red, bringing him to his creepy underground dungeon, but that's actually just how we unlock new cars. Each chapter of this game is split into sections, with the main driver to unlock in the middle, and a few bonus gameplay modes to help you get more coins. First is a free-for-all race with a bunch of pigs, pretty straightforward. The time trial mode is one of my favorites, with chunks of material blocking your path and making it more difficult to finish under the time limit. Fruit Splat is a pretty unique one, forcing you to smash enough fruit in a race before it ends. Also very fun, especially when you're competing with another computer player. And lastly, there's a versus race against the other main characters. We fought Terrence here, and I drove straight into him to cause a car accident. Take that, Terrence! To unlock a new driver, you have to beat them in 3 races. Each time they get better and better, but this Stella honestly was no match for me. I love that Stella is the first unlockable character, and in her intro cutscene they show off her unique power, the bubble. And when you beat her, turns out she's not so angry after all. Then the game breaks you the news, Red is out of energy and you'll have to wait for him to recharge. Wonderful. Rovio claims they wanted you to try all the racers and that's why we needed the energy system, but obviously you don't need anything, there are tons of ways around that. You just want people to spend gems to get more energy. For what reason do you need to level up cards then? Why are some crazy expensive? Why are the iconic ones basically impossible to get unless you buy the physical telepods? Oh, are you unfamiliar with the concept? Allow me to illuminate. Angry Birds teamed up with Hasbro for a brand new Toys to Life line called Telepods. Seen first in Angry Birds Star Wars 2, we now get each bird and pig in their most iconic car as a physical toy. I literally own all of them and I love them, but man, they're pretty sad the more you look at them. The wheels don't even work, there's a metal ball you can use to roll them around instead. To be fair, the characters turned out so good in this game that the figures are still awesome, and if you own them, you could get their associated carts in the game. Pretty cool, huh? Sure, unless you're poor, I guess. Rovio doesn't want poor people to play their game, so find a new franchise, buddy. Anyways, one of the most important aspects of this game is upgrading your vehicle so you can participate in more difficult races, which means you need coins, which means you need to grind each of these levels to get enough to do so, and thankfully with an unlimited coin mod, I can skip all of that. My plan was just to use it to skip grinding and running out of energy, but then my game crashed and my progress didn't save. Trying to play this game nowadays is really tough, but thankfully, there's a really awesome mod called Angry Birds Nitro. It removes in-app purchases, making the price of things more fair, and it saves my damn game. I'm only playing Nitro for the sake of replaying the entire campaign of this game, and of course we'll still rank Angry Birds Go with all of its faults in mind. But can we just take a second to shower Nitro with the love and respect it deserves? I spent hours trying to play the dumb game officially, and less than a minute to download and start Nitro. Go check it out if you're curious. Back to playing the game, we're on our way to unlocking Bomb, and we're now playing a new track. This one takes place at night, with a lot more turns and tricky pathways. Stella is particularly helpful for the fruit smashing levels, with her big bubble taking up a lot of space. But so far we're not facing any challenges, I'm just having fun and laying back at the moment. Bomb's intro cutscene gives us a taste of his explosive abilities. Bomb isn't going to give in as easily as Stella did though. He drops bombs behind him through the entire race, and my front wheel broke right off the bat so I was constantly veering to the right. I actually lost. But no worries, each subsequent race went great, and Bomb is now mine. He screams and cries and pisses his pants so hard he diffuses his own wick. As you can see, everything we've done so far was part of the Seedway level pack, and now we can move right ahead to Rocky Road. We also unlocked Sub-Zero, but we'll wait to try it until the end. This was the most recent content edit after all. Since we're in a new level pack, we're forced to buy new carts. Good thing I just spent all my money. I had to go back and replay some versus races for a while until I could afford one, but no biggie. Including the daily challenge, where I got to play as Hal in the most difficult stage. The levels I've been playing are only like 30 seconds, so having a nearly 2-minute race was awesome. I've always loved the Rocky Road stages, they're much more wide open and feel like a steep downhill chase. Bomb is really only helpful for taking out enemy racers, which will be great for unlocking the blues, but not that special otherwise. Speaking of, let's unlock those silly blues, shall we? They weren't even ready to race, they fell into a cart trying to eat the prize cake. During their boss fight, they throw blocks behind them and consistently boost forward. I lost to them quite a bit, but I managed to beat them by quite a large margin in the end. Just like Stella, the Blues aren't that angry, they're just silly. Except Jim, of course. He's just a psychopathic murderer that I hate! Playing as the Blues is awesome though. They basically have 3 of Red's boosts instead of 1. They're the speed demons so far. In the nighttime version of Rocky Road, we have lots of splitting paths, making each race feel pretty distinct. At this point, even with the better balancing of the Nitro mod, I was already having to replay levels and grinding for coins quite a bit. And when I did win challenges, it was just barely. But let's not dwell on that, let's meet King Pig. He also wants that cake, but Chancellor Pig reminds him of the rules and pushes him down the hill. Even royalty has to follow the damn rules. I struggled quite a bit fighting King Pig. He was always way faster than me thanks to his balloon power, and he'd throw pigs at me who stick onto the cart. I basically just replayed the race over and over until I got lucky. King Pig pouts like Bomb did, so one of the minion pigs gives him his giant binky. What a cutie. His balloon power is really great, except on levels like this one where you can just bonk into a bridge and completely stall out. Use those balloons more wisely. It's also fun to just have the pigs to play as. There's only 3, but I'm glad they were included. Now let's work on unlocking Terrence. I love this comic, dude. Terrence is huge and causing a pileup. I wish he was that big in gameplay, that would be so funny. I was maybe over leveled for this race. Terrence was so far behind I never got footage of him throwing boulders at me. Once he's unlocked, he's just standing in a room, very menacingly I must say. He fills the entire comic panel. Alright, let's jump to one of the coolest ideas for the game, the air chapter. Each cart has wings and can fly now. This stage has very skinny bridges and long flying sections, and it's probably my favorite theme in the entire game. And with Terrence, now we can send lightning strikes down on all our enemies. Bubbles is up next, and before these creepy ass pigs defile him or some shit, they're giving my boy some strange looks. Bubbles inflates and pushes them out of the way. Unlocking Bubbles went pretty great honestly. All 3 rounds he inflated himself, flew off the map, and never caught up to me again. We see him holding a balloon, which inflates somehow, so he does the same. Bubbles is literally good for every single game mode in this game, and his ability is by far the most fun and well animated. He inflates, barreling forward with a speed boost. So he's fast, he can roll over enemies or smash through a bunch of obstacles and even pick up a bunch of fruit. He's a jack of all trades and I love him for it. But it's time to unlock Matilda now, and she loves meditating before locking in and zooming past her opponents. She has a really tough stage hazard in her races, a big egg tornado that instantly sends you flying. So you really just have to be in front of her at all times if you want to win. Once she's unlocked, she does a crazy POV kiss scene that's sure to make a few birds jealous. In my opinion, Matilda might be one of the worst playable characters. Her egg is really small, hard to aim, and really not even helpful if it does hit someone. It's thematically perfect, but really useless, especially in time trials and fruit splat. Anyways, we made it to the final section of the air races, and we are working towards the Foreman Pig now. He puts mustaches on his TNT sticks, not really sure why. Racing him was fun because I really liked this final air race, although the long stretches of flying can be a little boring at times. But on our second race, we were fighting each other mid-air before he got stuck somewhere, staying there for the rest of the race. Talk about a free win. He shows us that it actually says TMT, blowing himself up, and it crashed my game. Mustache Pig just freaking bombed my computer. His power is just Matilda's egg times 3. I truly don't understand the thought process here. Matilda has immediately become useless to me. Anyways, as you might have noticed, we've moved to the stunt tracks. Easily the most fun and well-made levels in the game. They're the fastest and longest tracks, with tons of twists and turns, and even a giant loop-de-loop. Oh, and did I mention we're unlocking Hal next? The greatest Angry Bird of all time? What a time to be alive! As we can see from his intro comic, he's the Tornado King now. Spinning around with that giant beak is bound to create a natural disaster. Raising him went pretty well all things considered, meaning he's all mine now. I truly don't understand this comic though. Why does he have a tire with rocks on his head? Am I dumb for not understanding? It's given the same energy as "she's so crazy, love her." Hal's ability is so insanely good for every mode. His tornado basically acts as his chauffeur, taking up the entire lane in front of him to collect stuff or destroy obstacles and enemies. Hal would have already been my new main if he sucked, so I have no reason to not use him now. We're also on to the next stunt track, with a much more dynamic loop-de-loop and some much more difficult sections of the race. I love it. Apparently the entire concept of this area comes from the Toons episode Crash Test Piggies. Sometimes you can even see some rockets and crash sites as you drive. I never knew that before, that's some really cool trivia. Obviously the character designs and voices are all based on Toons already, so I guess it makes sense the levels pull inspiration from that too. Moving to Corporal Pig, his helmet floats up off his head, grows in size somehow, and smashes down on top of him. Huh? What is happening in the Angry Birds Go universe? His races did not go so smoothly. Even when it seemed like I was beating him, he passed me like a freaking photo finish. Like, what the hell, dude? These Corporal Pig races were really hard. It took me a lot of upgrading to beat them. I think it's because his power is insanely good. We'll get to that in a second, of course. When I finally did beat him, I had to wipe him out with my tornado right off the bat, attempt to stay in front of him for the entire race, and win the photo finish at the end. That was seriously so close. I can't believe I even beat the guy. He gives us a big smile, and then all his teeth fall out. Very cute. Now we move to the final challenge. The speed demon himself, Chuck. He's a fast one, I'll give him that, even if he accidentally goes backwards sometimes. And we've got a lot more work to do before we can unlock him. Thankfully, I got one of the most OP broken characters at my disposal now. Corporal Pig not only swings helmets around him like red shells in Mario Kart, but while they're active, he gets a consistent speed boost. And he can do that 3 times in each race. I can breeze through nearly every challenge now, regardless of the level of my cart. We're also on the last stunt track, and in terms of the course layout, it's probably my least favorite. But flying past this waterfall is always a fun set piece. Well, this is it, the final boss, the race against Chuck. His race is so tough, he drops a little speed boost behind him rather than hurting you like everyone else. You need to be fast and furious if you want to win here. He gets to use a speed boost like 3 or 4 times during the race. It feels so impossible to catch up to the guy. When chasing him, he always jumps ahead before you can catch him. However, if you're just faster than him, he never boosts forward. I think that's really dumb and makes the concept of this race really boring. Either you can't catch him or you never see him the entire time. Whatever, the best strategy is to block him right off the bat so he smashes into you, starts at a disadvantage, and never catches back up. Truly a winner strategy. Chuck loves ore farming and then crying, as you can see. Don't worry, we're not done yet. Everything we covered was basically in the base game of Angry Birds Go, and now we can start going through the updates. From Cinebird to the 2.0 update, we've got a lot to discuss, but first, let's try Chuck out on the Sub-Zero courses. This theme feels like it was made for Christmas, all snowy with sleighs for carts, yet it released in March. I wonder if it was meant to come out sooner. Anyways, the theme of this level is being slippery. Every turn I take, I'm slamming into the opposite wall, and at the end of the track, we fall from such a height that Chuck breaks right out of his cart. It's still a great idea for the game, if not a little frustrating at first. Speaking of Chuck, let's try out his ability. What appears to be a sudden time skip from our point of view, he's actually slowing down time when activated. It's a lot like his first episode in Angry Birds Toons, and a really fun idea for a game like this. Clearly they weren't thinking of multiplayer modes when they made this ability though. Anyway, since we have all the characters, the Sub-Zero chapter is pretty different. A simple change, the Fruit Splat now features ice cream. That's a lovely difference that they didn't need to do, but just feels right. And the big challenge of each course is a slalom race. You gotta stay in between the poles and beat the time limit, and each time you don't, TNT spawns in your way. I really need to upgrade the handling on this thing because I missed nearly every gate, but I have a pretty good cart so I finish just fine. Moving to the second course, which is my favorite because it looks really good and has lots of fun sections, let's try out the Cinebird, based on the real F1 racer and of course the not real Angry Bird Chuck. Basically, it's just Chuck with hair who puts on a helmet when he uses his ability. It's strange this is the only character ever added to Angry Birds Go. Icebird was actually in the files. An incredibly fitting character for a Sub-Zero theme I might add. But of course, he never got to appear. Why does God hate good things? We can play it through to the third Sub-Zero track, but it's kind of just more of the same. I quickly realized the ice cream splat levels were without a doubt the most challenging in the game because I'm super fast and have no control over my movement, so I simply cannot pick enough up to win. In terms of other modes, there's Jenga and multiplayer. I don't really have interest in playing multiplayer, but let's at least talk about it. From the start, fans wanted this mode. Rovio promised it right out the gates, and it took about 8 to 9 months before we'd see it. Some mobile games aren't even around for that long. Assuming your audience will even care about the game the following year is nuts. Multiplayer should have been a priority for the game's launch, even if I personally don't care at all and would have played it regardless. You could buy a physical Jenga toy and unlock the Jenga mode in this game, which is the most boring and pointless mode you could possibly think of. You launch a bird at the tower, the pigs fall, you earn a pitiful amount of coins, and it's over. Why would you ever play this more than once? At least it doesn't cost any energy. Now, the moment we've all dreaded, let's cover the game in its current state, otherwise known as the 2.0 update. I'm playing the most recent version, just FYI. Now, in terms of races, the game looks and plays great, I'd say. I might play footage from this version throughout the video simply because the lighting and graphics just look good. But there's a lot of problems too, so let's go through them. Here's the menu for starters. It's bland, boring, and basic compared to the original. I have no idea why it was changed so drastically. Each character has 5 levels leading up to them, mixing modes, tracks, and themes all in between. In a way, I like that idea. Only playing Speedway levels or only playing Rocky Road levels for long stretches of time is just a strange thing the original version stuck to. I haven't played a Seedway course in forever, because why would I? I think mixing that up is actually a smart and good change, one of the few positives of this update. Now, you need to have experience and also play through the whole thing, which would take half a year or so I'm told, to fully grasp the poor choices made in this game. So I'll give you the spark notes. The 2.0 update is so drastic they had to restart everyone's progress, and all you got in exchange was some gems. That is insane considering the amount of time and real life money people spent on the original game. You simply cannot do that to people. I don't understand how that can legally even be okay. If you spent any time playing the original version, removing your progress is a big middle finger to you. The energy system is now much more simple, no longer tied to the characters. Remember how Rovio made the excuse that giving each individual character energy forced the player to try every character? What the hell is your excuse now? They aren't even hiding it anymore. This is blatantly trying to get you to pay once you run out of energy. It is as simple as that. Let's see, they add a bunch of unneeded extra items required to level up carts, only found in loot boxes. We all know how much I love loot! But what sucks most about the 2.0 update is that it replaced the game fans love. Turns out, when the 2019 purge of Angry Birds games came, it wouldn't have mattered anyways, but in this case, they probably should have made it a spin-off or sequel and fans wouldn't have cared as much. No one would have liked or enjoyed it, but at least the original game wasn't tainted. Releasing Sub-Zero levels was really cool, pun intended, and I cannot believe there weren't more tracks added to this game. How and why? This game had so much potential and it was squandered. I've talked about my thoughts on Angry Birds Go throughout the video, but let's get into specifics, starting with the positives. The game is just fun. It's as basic as a racing game on mobile can get, but playing as each character, completing new modes, and making it to new courses is such a blast all the way through. I loved it as a kid, and I love doing it again for this video. This is the first Angry Birds game where grinding is such a big aspect. You're playing the same thing over and over just to upgrade your carts. The game also features a lot of vehicles to try, and I'd love to, but getting coins is such a long process that even upgrading one cart took way too long to even consider doing the same with another. That is one aspect of the game I unfortunately had to neglect, but the kart variety in this game is very cool, I won't deny it. But yeah, the main theme of why people love this game is, it is just fun to play. They did a great job making the game accessible to any player, giving you plenty to do, and making the core gameplay loop an enjoyable experience. Before 2.0 at least. Now let's move to my criticisms of the game. The grinding kinda sucks. It's necessary to upgrade your cart, but it's really boring. And like I said, I didn't get to try out very many carts because I needed so much money to upgrade the one I owned. Keep in mind, I was playing a mod that gives you way more coins per race, and it took me a few days to beat it. I'd guess it would have taken me like a month or so if I had played it at the actual place in the official game, which is crazy. If that's not a promo for the Nitro mod, I don't know what is. The difficulty is really strange, and sometimes upgrading your cart makes levels harder because of it. The level of difficulty from course to course is almost arbitrary, and you either have no chance of beating something for being just a little underleveled, or you're just barely over the CC requirements and mop the floor with the stage, and there's rarely an in-between. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it does bother me. Finally, my biggest complaint with Angry Birds Go, it's scummy monetization and the true beginning of the downfall of Angry Birds and Rovio. Before now, these slingshot games and bad piggies were not pay to win. Some of them cost money up front, or you had to buy the Mighty Eagle, but otherwise everyone played the game the same way. And then Angry Birds Go released and they're selling carts for $50! Or you buy telepods to get the cool carts, or you spend an obscene amount of gems you'll never earn organically for a cart that isn't even good. Angry Birds Go got a ton of negative reviews when released for these practices, and it's so sad that things only got worse from here. These things taint what should be a fun little Angry Birds spin-off, and they certainly hurt its ranking. However, could you play through the whole game on your own, unlock all the characters and play multiplayer and all that stuff without paying any money? 100%. I know it because I did it as a kid, and I know a lot of others did too. Sure, if you wanted everything or wanted to beat the game quickly, dropping cash down was required. But compared to the pay-to-win aspects of future Angry Birds games, this is actually quite forgiving. And the world and personality of this game is awesome. The graphics aren't the greatest, but they're super charming. I wouldn't replace the feeling on this game for anything. If we were ranking the 2.0 update alone, Angry Birds Go would probably get a C tier, maybe lower. But taking everything into account, mostly focusing on the better version of the kart racing game we know and love, I think Angry Birds Go deserves a spot in A tier. There are so many flaws I think you'd be insane to give it an S tier, but depending on how much you enjoy the gameplay, I think A or B tier is fair. And Angry Birds Go is one of my favorite spin-offs in the series, so that's my reasoning. I had so many negatives it feels like I placed it too highly in a way, but I don't know, I've always thought it was an A tier game regardless of its flaws. Let me know what you think and if I was too nice to this game. If you'd like to see the series continue, please consider becoming a member. We'll keep going for a bit, as promised, but if no one's watching this series, I cannot guarantee it will last forever. Anyways, thank you to my current members, Patrick Barjan, Keep, Gall Guy, Jeb the Legend, Cheaper Ying, Test Monkey, Callum Ford, Perskill Banner, Checky, Timor, Kurnob, Aaron the Ghoul, Freakish Smile, Geminot, Lewis, Lavatane, Green Man Yat, McCrazy, Bright Streak, Dante, Skibbity, MGR Damadan, Einherjar, Jonathan Biscoff, F. Burke Ukar, Yasin, OK, Mirai, and Sleepy Boy 74. Also, trying to play this game in 2025 is a nightmare, and I gotta give a big thanks to the members of the Angry Birds Go Nitro Discord. Even the creator of this game was helping me figure out how to download and play this game. Nitro actually adds more content to the game if that's something that interests you. It's a great mod and I'd recommend it. Next time will be the highly requested, long-awaited, fan favorite Angry Birds title, Angry Birds Epic. Please let me know right now how I should play it. I heard there's a vanilla mod that helps restore the game as best it can. Is there something else I should look for that you know about? Please let me know in preparation for that video. Thank you, bye bye. But no worries, each subsequent race went great, and Bomb is now mine.